Hello, everyone. So a very good morning to those of you who are in Europe, and a very good afternoon to those of you who are based in Asia, like us, as usual. So welcome to today's session, where we talk about the practical application of artificial intelligence in education tools. So we are now moving away from the AI literacy to AI applications in education. And few admin notes in the beginning. So please make sure to rename yourself with first name, last name, comma, your country, so that it's easy for us to mark your attendance, as well as when you are asking questions, we know where you are speaking from. And please don't forget to mute yourself so that when the speaker is presenting, there is no background noise. And as usual, thank you so much for really being active in the chat box when you are posting your questions. Please feel free to do the same for today so that we can take notes and our speaker can also pay attention to the questions as the session goes on. And the same format, we will have a very brief speaker introduction, and then the speaker will introduce you to the thematic content, and then we'll have a question and answer session, and then summary, and then checkout. We will tell you about what to expect next for next session. So with that, it is my pleasure to welcome our speaker today, Mr. Ghazali Abdul Wahab. He identifies himself as an expert educator and user of artificial intelligence in education tools, in short AI tools, and he's working at the secondary education sector based in Singapore. A few highlights about him. So Mr. Ghazali is a veteran teacher, actually, who has more than 25 years of experience and taught in 6 different schools. Currently, his engagement in the secondary education sector actually includes training teacher and facilitating workshops to empower teachers about the use of AI tools. So without further ado, let's welcome our speaker, Mr. Ghazali Abdul Wahab. The floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. Let me share my screen. That was an excellent introduction, by the way. I can't have said it any better. So I'll just move on to my presentation. So today I'll be talking about what are some of the relevant and effective use of AI in education. Oh no, if you look at my slide, it doesn't really give me a good, doesn't give a lot of confidence, right, to my ability in using AI when I have such a blank screen like this. Okay, so let's see how I can improve on it. All right, I'm using PowerPoint, by the way, simple PowerPoint. All right, these look like nice images. Just do an insert. And PowerPoint will generate the content for me. Oh, I like this. All right, how's that? Better? Okay, so let's do a full screen.
You can give the thumbs up if you like it, because Ghazali cannot see you because of, he's sharing the screen.
Yeah, so I just hope that you're seeing what I'm talking about. I don't want to be talking for half an hour and all you're seeing is a blank screen. So, okay, so I hope my screen looks better now. And this is done, as you saw, within like a few seconds. Provided you have already the content, the material, and you put it into the application, it can generate for you things like this, nice images for your sharing. Okay, so let me move on. What will I be talking about today? I think instead of me telling you what I'll be talking about today, I'll let my personal assistant, Aisha, to tell you about it. And I think you can guess from her name, Aisha, A-I-S-Y-A-H, what kind of a personal assistant she's going to be.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to today's exciting session. We have a fascinating lineup of topics to explore together. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let's dive into the world of AI innovation and design. Our AI-savvy speaker, Mr. Ghazali, will be sharing on engagement by design, generative AI, text-to-image AI tools, text-to-speech AI tools, AI fusion into pedagogy, and finally, it's coffee time, a Q&A chit-chat session. I can't wait. Let's get started.
All right, thank you, Aisha, for that brilliant introduction. This happens sometimes, when you're too much into AI, you start talking to them like they're real, but they're not. Okay, so this is what teachers are afraid of. They think that things like this, AI generated robots or cybernetics will take over our jobs. I can assure you that is not the case. This is what I'm showing you right now, I think is at the more or less at the cutting edge, the very best at the moment of what AI can do, that I'm aware of in the market today. Behind the scenes, I do not know, but this is what I can produce based on what I have gathered and looked at and what's available. Okay, this is free, by the way, but the reason why this will not replace us at the moment anyway is because it is firstly very prohibitive. To generate half an hour, 30 minutes worth of clip using this particular application will cost you roughly about, if I'm not mistaken, $200 a month subscription, and you only generate like 30 minutes. That's not even going to cover one full lesson, right? And of course, as you can guess, what she's saying was created by me. So I told her what to say. So the content must come from the educator. Yeah. So then she will just repeat what I tell her to say. Okay. So before we go into the AI part, let's go a bit into the pedagogy part. And I will just skim through this quickly. Basically, where I'm coming from is this theory or pedagogy called engagement by design. Right? I really like this. Another thing similar to this, I think, is universal design or universal integration of design, something like that. But basically, what it posits is that the idea that you can design a very a lesson which students can understand easily, right? The very best lesson that students can understand easily, but if students are not engaged, if students are not motivated, they still wouldn't learn. So which is more important than the engagement bit or the lesson design, the simplicity bit of understanding, right? So as a reaction of, maybe you can guess, understanding by design, they came up with this engagement by design, whereby as teachers, we foreground engagement first, right? So how does it look like? Okay. If you look at the traditional lesson plan, right, what it looks like is that you have your pre-activity, you have your activity, you have your post-activity. So you have segments in your lessons that you design. Okay, so maybe a new way of looking at lesson design is to look at it as layers rather than segments. Why? Well, because in the traditional design, where do you put engagement? Most of the time it's in pre-activity, right? Why? Because the theory says you got to hook your students first in the beginning. And then the assumption goes, once you've hooked them in the beginning of your lesson, that engagement will last throughout the lesson. Does that really happen? Very rarely. Because the minute they see, oh, we're going to do grammar next, whatever hook you have used has already slipped through the teacher's mouth. They've gone, they've already been distracted. So if you look at it as a layer, what happens is that the engagement is throughout the lesson instead of just at the beginning. So you must think of ways to sustain engagement from the beginning of the lesson to the end. And that is the principle of engagement by design. Now, how do you do that? I'll show you, don't worry. In the previous two speakers' presentation, I think one of the important things I took away from it was you look at the problem first, and then you look at the tools, not the other way around. The reason, the problem we have right now is that we're always looking at, wow, what's the next big thing that AI is churning out? Oh, that's so great. And then we decide, okay, so what problem does this solve? And the previous two speakers very astutely mentioned that that's going about the wrong way. You go about it by looking at what are the issues in education, and then you look at what AI can do to help you. Okay, so for me, personally, this is one of the issues of education, the achievement gap. And during the pandemic, the achievement gap grew even bigger because students were at home, they were using computers, and maybe some of them don't even have an internet connection. All right. So engagement by design says that when it comes to tackling the achievement gap, there must be first an understanding that this is a symptom of a much greater challenge, which is the engagement gap. Perhaps if you solve the engagement gap, you would also solve the achievement gap. To me, it makes sense. So, because if my students are engaged in my lessons, I can teach them whatever I want and they will learn. Okay, so another theory of engagement itself is not a linear thing, or it's not a two-dimensional thing. You must look at it in different perspective. What we can see and what we always look at is the left-hand side, the red portion, the observable engagement part, right? Because it is to do with the academic, it is to do with the behavioral, right? So what we cannot see is the cognitive and the affective domains of engagement, which we need to look at and understand and help us to make our lessons better in that sense, right? Okay, so what does this look like? Okay, so I hope you can see this. All right,
Yes.
so this is one of the first lessons that I designed based on the engagement by design paradigm, and I call it Extinction Agenda. Story first. The story why I did this was because it was in the midst of the pandemic. We were told 2 weeks before school closed that we have to put up our lessons online. And teachers were scrambling to get all the textbook materials, everything, all the worksheets, all up onto the cloud. And we didn't really look at engagement. We didn't look at lesson design even. We just wanted to get all our worksheets all on the cloud so that students can access it from home. And what happened after 2 weeks? We had 2 weeks worth of materials. And what happened after 2 weeks? The message came, okay, your lockdown is going to be extended. So 2 weeks became 1 month. 1 month became 2 months. And we ran out of materials. Okay, and all the materials that we had online were those worksheets. Now, you imagine you are the students right at home and you're doing worksheets after worksheets. What's going to happen? Yes, when we looked at the data, we started losing students. Students began not turning up for lessons because they realized one thing: teachers were powerless to do anything because they were at home and we were at our homes. We can't do anything to make them do those worksheets, right? We're not in the classroom setting. We can't even do group work. So what do? The numbers started dwindling. So from 90% attendance to 80% attendance. So I started panicking when it was 50% attendance. This was the worst point in my entire 25 years career as a teacher. Hated it, right? So I decided I must do something. What can I do? Then I went back and I thought and I reflected. When I was a student, what engaged me? What made me want to come to school? Whose lessons did I enjoy the most? And I immediately remembered Mr. Chan, my favorite teacher. Still remember him from primary school. And the only reason why I love his lesson, he taught social studies, was because he had interesting stories. So I decided, okay, let me try to do that and bring stories to my students. As you can see, this is a storyline. And the storyline is about the pandemic, because I wanted it to be something that is relatable to my students. And if you notice, when you scroll down below under Explore, it is actually a Google site. Okay, and I can then view the published site. This is what it looks like to the students. Okay. And when they click on the Explore button, it brings them to a map. It's a classroom. Okay, so they got to explore. They got to find out what happened to them. Why are they stuck in that place? And they can explore this area. Whatever is clickable, they can click. This is actually an escape room. So they have to find the clues of what had happened to them and then try to escape from this room. So for example, if they click on the window outside, they click on this window. So you grab a notebook and rush to the window. You look outside and this is what you see. Record what you see as your first clues to your notebook. Okay, so they record what they see. So this is, in terms of our reading, writing skills, right? This is the visual text. So we're looking at the visuals. So they're using vocabulary. They will describe the scenery. And it is actually a clue that will lead them to escape the room. Then they go back to the map. Okay, so all these things are clickable. Then if they click on like this microscope, they can look inside the microscope and the microscope links to the YouTube where they can play the YouTube and learn more about
recognize it by now. This is
the pandemic.
SARS-CoV-2.
Yeah. Okay. So you see the two purpose, right? They're learning my subject, which is English. They're also learning more about what's going on with the world outside, and it's relevant to them. So that is my hidden curriculum. And then when they've explored all the places, they can click on the door here and try to escape. So when they click on the door, it brings them to this different website, which is a Flippity. So there are 3 locks they have to go through. Lock number 1, I think all of you know the answer, right? What is the number that defines the name? I'm the deadly virus. A number defines my name. What is it? What's the number? Yeah, okay, 19. COVID-19, 19, okay. So you click on it, the lock opens. Then they go back. This lock remains open. They go to the second one. What is the color associated with the plague? That was all from the video clip. So it was talking about the Black Plague. So they click on black, it opens. Then they go back. They click on the third one. Which animal is probably associated with this particular pandemic? And all of you will be thinking, what? Bat, I guess. Right? The bats, right? In Wuhan. Bats. Sorry, no, it didn't open. So the answer is not bats. Why is it not bats? Because this is a created universe, a created world. So the answer must come from this world, not from outside, right? It's because I'm teaching them reading comprehension, I'm teaching them literacy skills, so they need to have close reading. Do you remember the picture that I showed you in the beginning? What animal was prevalent in that setting? Do you remember? Anybody? Don't be shy.
Bird.
If you recognize. The what?
Bird.
Birds, yes. So what kind of birds did you see?
Crow.
Oh,
Crows.
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 Yeah. Okay, whether they use a singular or plural, it's designed to accept the answer. Okay. Excellent. We did it in 1 minute, 32 seconds, and we've escaped the room. My students did it in about 60 seconds, I think. Yes. And then they kept trying, you know. They wanted to bring it down to 30 seconds, 20 seconds. Hey, you already know the answer. You already tried to bring in the... Can you ever get students to want to keep doing a particular piece of worksheet or lesson on their own? Yeah, so this is one of the advantages of using storylines to make your lesson more interesting. Yes. Okay. Okay, I hope you see this. All right, so after they've escaped the room, right? So there's next level. Next level is congratulations, you managed to escape the lab. You find a staircase that leads you up to the 2nd floor. This seems to be someone's living quarters. Okay, by now they know how to explore already on their own. So they click on the explore button. What will happen? What would they see? They would expect to see a map, right? So they know how to explore this area. So the map. And this, okay, this is one of the most powerful pedagogical tools out there. It's called station rotation. Before the pandemic, right, whenever the principal wants to see my lessons, I always do a station rotation. So my classroom becomes like areas of a mansion, murder mystery mansion. Like the kitchen is one corner, the bedroom is one corner, master bedroom another corner. And then I really went all out. I used the whole school. The library of the school is the library of the house. The canteen of the school is the kitchen of the house. Then the students really explore the whole place. Then pandemic came, and we all at home, and I can't do that. Then I realized, hey, I can put it online, can't I? So that's what I did. So it's the same concept, what you saw previously, same design. And if you click it by room, if you click on room A, for example, there's a story. In the master bedroom, you find a dead body. Someone was killed. The body was cold and wearing a lab coat. On the tag of the coat reads, Dr. Lawrence Krauss. Maybe what happened here is connected to what has happened to the world outside. You look around, and then you look under the bed and find an old scroll. You unravel it and discover what it contains. So what do you think it contains? Is it a magical scroll? Are we like in Harry Potter land? No, it's your editing exercise. It's the thing that they hate the most, grammar. We all hate grammar, don't we? Yes, so they have to do this grammar exercise, find the errors in the grammar, all right? So this is actually clickable and downloadable. Then they will do it on their iPad, all right, and submit the answer. So only those who score 8 and above will get a clue as to who the murderer is. And you see a transformation in the students because traditionally, how do we teach this? We just give them worksheet after worksheet, practice, 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 drills and practice, right? And what do students learn? They're very smart. They learn that it's okay if I get the answer wrong or leave it blank because my teacher will give me the answer anyway. So the effort level goes down, motivation levels goes down from 100%, 80%, 70%. But once you embed it into a storyline like this, right, and there's a consequence to doing it right and getting the answer correct, you want something in return, right? Motivation level goes back to 100%. You will see the students actually putting in back the effort to try to get the answer as correct as possible. And imagine if you do this in group work, they will actually be helping each other. No, they're pushing each other. Please, let's get this right. Let's get this right. This is the correct answer. That's the correct answer. No, the discussion level goes up. Okay. All right. So I hope you can see now the advantage of using a storyline in your lessons as a pedagogical tool. Okay. Now where does AI come in? Now this is very early on. This is way before ChatGPT, right? So let me show you. And don't laugh, please. This is very crude AI. All right, so if they click on E, as you enter this room, you found a phone on the floor. You're in luck, it's not locked. You check its content, and it seems to belong to the murdered Lawrence Krauss. There's a video recording on the phone, and you click on play. Okay. Wonder who that good-looking dude is. Woman, I need help. I need help. I'm Professor Lawrence Krauss. Somebody's out to get me. I've just discovered the secret formula to turn bronze to gold. And I've hidden it in a room in my house. I have a special room. Nobody knows where it is, but it's there. If you find it, make sure it doesn't drop into the wrong hands. Who's that? Somebody's here. I gotta go. All right, so I'm actually using, if I'm not mistaken, this is an old application, Face Chat, I think. If you still remember that program, Face Chat. So you can actually put mask on your face. You can turn yourself to anybody, right? So this is the beginnings, I guess, of the use of AI. All right. Okay, so they explore those rooms, A, B, C, D, and in those rooms, you have your activities. So as you can see, right, I remember there was a question previously in the previous webinar. People were asking about, all right, how do you make your biology, chemistry, math lesson more interesting? So you notice what I did there with engagement by design. My engagement is a layer, right? And below that layer, you have your curriculum, your content. So the content doesn't change. We don't dumb down the content just because we're using AI to impress the students. No, whatever is in your curriculum, whatever the standards that you have set are the same. And you're using the same content. The AI is above a layer that just supports it. Okay. So in a sense, this also solves a lot of the issues, a lot of the problems raised by the previous two speakers who already mentioned so many things bad about AI, right? Yes. So I won't mention all the bad things now. I will only mention the good things, and I will show you how I circumnavigated myself out of those things which were bad to only pick the good parts of the AI to use it in the classroom. Yeah. Okay. Now, even more fun. Let's go and see what's next. Where are we at next? Okay. Okay, there's a question about what ages. Secondary school. So my secondary school will be probably students age 12 to 15. 12, you don't believe it, right? Yeah, 12 to 15. They're not primary school, you know. They are 12 to 15, almost like going to poly and college after that. And they're so engaged by these storylines. I think there's something innate in us that are attracted to stories. You know, in the previous generations, this is how we learned through stories. The caveman drew stories on the cave walls, right? And my grandfather told me stories to teach me morality, and I love his stories. All right, next, what are we going to look at next? Oh yes, ChatGPT sorcery, the power of generative AI. Okay, so let's look at ChatGPT. Let's look at the baseline. Now imagine that right now, 6 months later, and I'm calling ChatGPT the baseline. All right, so let's look at ChatGPT. What can we do with ChatGPT? Okay, you have to bear with me in the sense that ChatGPT, as you know, is highly unstable. Sometimes it will work, sometimes it won't. Most of the time now, it tends to work. If you really want it to work all the time, you got to pay $20. I don't pay for anything. Nothing you see that I show you, okay, I paid for. Nothing. I'm a poor teacher. I don't have much money. So whatever I do, it's all free, right? Free. And I'll tell you all the tools I use. Don't worry. We're poor, man. A lot of teachers are leaving the profession because we're not paid good enough. How can we pay for all these things? Okay, ChatGPT. Right. Okay, so how did I create things like my storylines? If you let's say you say I don't have ideas. So what do I do? Right. So you use ChatGPT as your idea generator. So let's see. Right. Give me 10 ways to use gamification to teach English grammar. I purposely choose something challenging, all right, for ChatGPT. All right. Okay, the fact that it's slowing down tells me, yes, this is a challenging question. It's thinking. Or it could just be the time. Right now, a lot of people are using ChatGPT. I hope not. But anyway, you can see the prompt that I'm using, right? Give me 10 ways to use gamification to teach English grammar. It's taking its time. Finally. Certainly. How polite. Here are 10 ways you can use gamification to teach English grammar. Right. First, interactive quizzes. 2, grammar Jeopardy. Interesting. Design a Jeopardy style games where students can earn points by answering grammar related questions. Yes, that's doable. And already I'm thinking, yes, I can use my website to design the grammar Jeopardy game. Grammar bingo. Create bingo cards. Yes, I've done this before as well. The best part is I didn't even create any cards. I just told my students, right, and you can use this for checking for understanding. Take out a blank piece of paper, draw the tic-tac-toe columns, right? Okay, now write in a number from 1 to 20, let's say. Random, choose. So there are only nine squares. So they have to choose from 1 to 20. So what do they do next? Then you start asking them, okay, if you want to cross out a number, you must ask me a question based on the lesson that I just gave. Then you will suddenly see hands shoot up. Yes, I want to cross out this number, so I better ask good questions. So then that's how you get students to want to ask questions. Because as you know, Singaporean students don't like to ask questions. So these are the tricks, tips and tricks that you use to get them to ask questions. So you have grammar board games, grammar puzzles, online leaderboards, grammar scavenger hunt. Interesting. Okay, let's stop generating. You're too slow, ChatGPT today. All right, so give me a storyline. No, an interesting storyline to use for grammar game scavenger hunt number 4. Right. Certainly. Look at how fast it's generating now. It's too easy for it. Why? Because ChatGPT is good at creating storylines. Because they just take everything from the internet, right? And then they mix it all together, right? So it's very easy. When you get them to actually think, a bit slower. Generating things like this, much faster. Okay, the grammar quest is an exciting adventure where students become grammar detectives. Are you stealing my idea? My murder mystery? Tasked with solving a mystery, the renowned grammar expert, Professor Syntax, has discovered a mischievous grammar gremlin has stolen essential grammar rules, and hidden them across different locations. Oh my God, this is so perfect for my escape room, isn't it? The students, now part of the Grammar Detective Agency, embark on a thrilling quest to find the missing grammar rules and restore order to the English language. They must follow a series of clues and solve grammar. Oh, I like it. I like this. Create. Okay, let's say I like this. So I create a dialogue between between members, between, what did they call them? Professor Syntax. Syntax and what? Grammar Gremlin. Okay, so basically you can see, right, this kind of generation of ideas would usually take me a better part of 2-3 hours just to think of what to, the storyline to use, how to create my stories, how to generate my storylines, what happened next, all these things. Now with ChatGPT, it takes you less than 10 seconds. Okay, so Professor Syntax, Grammar Gremlin, I finally caught up with you. You've been wreaking havoc on the English language for far too long. And then the Grammar Gremlin chuckles mischievously. Professor Syntax, always a stickler for rules. Sounds like me. But where's the fun in language if it's all proper and predictable? I'm actually kind of liking the Grammar Gremlin. Professor Syntax, language must have construct, my dear Gremlin. Without grammar, communication would be chaotic and confusing. It's my duty to ensure that everyone understands and follows the rules. It actually explains why we need grammar, doesn't it? Yeah, sometimes ChatGPT solves more than it intends to. Okay, so now you have the storyline, you have the dialogue. Done. Let's move on to something else. More fun than this. That's why I say this is the baseline. Why I call it the baseline, not that it's easy or simple. I call it the baseline because it's providing you the structure, it's providing you the ideas, it's providing you with your content materials. And again, also, when I say content materials, I'm talking about the world generation bit, not the curriculum bit. The curriculum stays the same. Okay, what you need to teach, you teach. This is just providing you the umbrella, the overarching layer of engagement. Go to this free application called Canva. Many of you know this, right? Canva. Okay, so Canva, where do we go in Canva? In Canva, you go to apps. Okay, under apps, you have these tools here. So now I want to cover text to image. Just now I did generative AI, right? Okay, so now I'm going to do text to image. So click on text to image. Panda surfing the wave. Okay, so you use in new design, just do maybe document. All right, so this is where it gets interesting, and you look at one of the jobs of the future is prompt engineering. So you need to be good prompters to get the image that you want, otherwise you will not get it. So for example, if I want to create a cute, furry, blue creature, monster that looks like Pikachu. All right. So you got to be specific as well. Okay, and then it will try to generate. The more famous ones are things like Midjourney and DALL-E, right? Those are the ones that you've heard of before. Oh, nice. So this, oh, I like that. You like that? This one's so cute. So I can click on this, and there. So I have a character created using this AI tool. Okay, so if I don't like any of these 4 things, I can create again, and it will generate another 4 sets of images. And these then become the images, the characters that I can use in my storyline. Yeah. Okay. They are free for you to generate up to, I think, 50 pictures. But don't worry, I will solve that by showing you another one. Okay, the good thing is that nowadays there's so many, right? So you can just pick and choose. There's so many. So once you run out of like credits for one, you just go to another one. So nice. Look at the pictures. Amazing. They even have them in categories. So if I click on landscape, yeah, see, so nice. And all these are artificially generated, right, through the use of AI tools. So you can just click on one. Okay, let's say I like this picture of this. Oh, apparently this girl's in Paris. I didn't even know that. Okay, let's say I like this picture. So when you see the picture, okay. When you go down, it will show you all similar pictures of girls in Paris. Okay, and then you can just download them and use them in your storylines. Okay, amazing, right? You don't even have to generate. This is cheating. You don't have to generate. People have generated it for you. This is generated by somebody, and you just use pictures as part of your storyline. If you generate it yourself, okay, what are the copyright issues? Well, these pictures are original in the sense that you won't see another copy because it's generated one of a kind by AI. Okay. So I think, and these days, I think because AI is moving so fast, I don't think they've actually done really stringent copyright laws to do with AI yet. That's what they're looking at, right? That's what people in Europe, Southeast Asia, they're coming up with, they call it guardrails for AI. And okay, so that's the picture. So for you to create the images. Now, imagine teachers saying that I had fun creating my lessons, my lesson design, finally. Okay, okay. This is a tool that I use to create the voices. Okay, so I've shown you the ChatGPT, which can produce the script. I've shown you the Canva AI and Playground AI, which can produce the pictures, the characters. Now, how do you make it come alive? Now I'm going to give you the voices of your characters. Okay, and this is so fun. English Australian accent. How's that? I love Australian accent. Any Australians here? Let's hear.
The life that you are living now is also a dream of millions. So always be satisfied with your life, be happy of in every moment of life.
Does it sound like Chris Hemsworth? Sounded more like Matthew McConaughey. Okay, let's hear somebody from Africa. Tanzania, yes.
The life that you are living now is also a dream of millions. So always be satisfied with your life, be happy of in every moment of life.
Right, so you can hear the accent coming from the speech of people from different countries. Okay, so let's just pick one. United States. Christopher.
Ghazali, I see that you're moving beyond Asia.
The life that you...
Sorry, beyond what?
You're moving beyond Asia and Europe.
Okay, let's stick to Europe. Where is, let me see, United Kingdom is in Europe, right? All right, let's see, Ryan.
The life that you are living now is also a dream of millions. So always be satisfied with your life, be happy of in every moment of life.
Okay, let's say I like that. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take out that thing that we did in ChatGPT, right? I'm gonna stick it in here. So bear with me as I do that. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I'm going to ChatGPT. Okay, so remember this dialogue that we did? All right. Oh, just before that, just for fun, I'm going to ask ChatGPT this question, right? Are there copyright issues to using this script? ChatGPT, just to see what it says. All right, so ChatGPT tells us, I am an AI language model, and while I can provide general information, I am not a legal expert. First thing they do is disclaimer, right? Very smart, open AI. Copyright laws can vary depending on your jurisdiction, and it is essential to consult a legal professional, okay? In general, creative works such as scripts can be protected by copyright. If you intend to use or distribute a script, particularly for commercial purposes, important to obtain permission, yes. Let me see. All right, so basically it's trained to tell you, go and find out from a proper legal professional. All right. So this is the response from ChatGPT. Previously, what they said was that these are created original, so there should not be any copyright issues. But now you see there's a change in the response. So it changes over time because it learns and it tries to not get the company into trouble. So this is now currently the model answer. Okay, so let's look at the script. Let's take Professor Syntax. Okay, so I'm going to copy Professor Syntax, what Professor Syntax says. Then I'm going to go to the website, text-to-speech website. By the way, the name of the website is TTS free. Guess why? How I managed to find it? Yeah, because of the word free. Okay, so now what I do is at this text box here, I cut and I paste that speech just now, and then convert now. All right, so it's processing the speech of Professor Syntax. Okay, all right.
I understand your desire for mischief, but it's crucial to strike a balance. Learn the rules well, and once you have mastered them, you can bend and adapt them creatively. That way, you'll maintain clarity while adding your unique touch to the language.
There you go. That is the voice of Professor Syntax. And Professor Syntax just read whatever came from the script by ChatGPT. And Professor Syntax looked like the image that you created in Canva AI. So now you have all three components. All right. So you have the image, you have the speech, you have the text, you have the storyline, right? So how then do you put all these things together? Okay, so I'm going to show you the easy way to do that. The way that you do that is through using an online software. You can use whatever software you know. Basically, it's a video editor. Okay, so it's a video editor. The one that I'm using is called FlexClip. This is what FlexClip looks like. Okay, so you can click on create a video, and right, it has templates. It will show you where you can put in the pictures, the sound and everything. So I'll just show you one that I've already created. As you can notice, this is the furry blue creature. So I used Canva AI to create this. And this is my storyline.
Hello, human. My name is Katila Caliker. I am desperate for your help. My homeworld of Pedagogia is in trouble. Everything is turning to ice. Some say an awful snow dragon is causing this. The situation on Pedagogia is dire. Some of my people say that an awful snow dragon is causing our planet to freeze over. Our once mild climate has become much colder. This has led to a rapid increase in ice formation, covering much of our land and making it difficult for many of our inhabitants to survive. We are in need of a solution to stop the ice from spreading and to help us return to our normal climate. Can you help us? We are not sure if the dragon is real or not, but we have to consider all the possibilities.
Okay, so that's the starting of my week's plan for my students. So if you create a video, this is what it looks like. Right, so you can import media. You can so yes, the timeline thing, text, subtitle, video, photo, audio, everything, right? And it's all online. Yes, online. And you don't see any price or payments for it, right? It must be free. Yeah. Okay. So let me go back. Okay, so you just sign up and then you can use it.
Ghazali, just a
Yeah.
quick reminder, we have 10 minutes for Q&A.
Oh, 10 minutes for Q&A. All right. So generally, I'm done. All right. So basically, what we covered just now, summary. A good lesson must always have a review, right? So we did the ChatGPT sorcery, the power of generative AI. Okay, and we did the text to image AI. So you saw these are the amazing ones that I could download. And none of these images exist in real life. All totally created by ChatGPT. Yes. Sorry, all created by the text to image AI tools. Okay, then the text to speech, right? All these, none of the pictures I use are of real people. They are all AI tool generated. Okay, putting it together, then we use FlexClip, right? So now, as you heard, is Q&A, which is my coffee time, where you can ask me anything as I sip my coffee and think and ponder on your questions.
Thank you so much, Ghazali. I think very overwhelming for those of us who have not used AI in classroom setting, but really useful applications. Before jumping into the question and answer session with the participants, just a quick note. We today, because it's a practical session in a way, so we only have 10 minutes. So if you need to leave, we understand. However, please try to stay if we go over the time a little bit. That will be highly appreciated. So I want to ask some fundamental questions to kick off the Q&A. So you are a teacher, you are not an AI expert, right? How did you learn about these tools? You mentioned a little bit about your motivation, but what kept you motivated? And then, of course, there are critical issues that are, crucial when it comes to using AI ethically, safely, and effectively. So we can see the effectiveness depending on what you want to achieve from your classroom. But as an educator who is still learning about AI tools, how do you keep yourself aware about these critical and ethical issues? If you could quickly comment on that.
Okay, sure. Very good question. So basically, why do I use it, and why do I keep myself updated on AI as best as I can? Well, I would say the expression goes, necessity is the mother of invention. I need to know what my students are going to be, using out there without my own knowledge even. Let's say if I do not know about the existence of ChatGPT, and then my students are using ChatGPT and then submitting work to me, I'll be spending hours and hours and hours marking ChatGPT, not my students. Then I'll be so happy that the grammar is perfect and the essay is good, fine. And then when it comes to the actual exams, everybody's failing. Why? Then I wouldn't know what's the reason, right? So, and also because when ChatGPT came out already, I saw the big issue. How do we ensure that students don't use it to cheat, right? The ethical issue. And we are still grappling with that issue right now, which is why, if you notice the way that I use AI, I'm using as a layer, as a support for teachers. And the effect is seen on the students, not the other way around. Not the students using the AI, and then the effect is seen on the teachers marking too many things or being happy. Yeah, they are very good when actually they are not. So for me, I think I'm being a bit cautious. I'm using AI for the purposes of in enhancing my pedagogy, using it as a leverage, a multiplier effect to make my lessons more interesting, more engaging for the students. And I believe if we make our lessons engaging and very motivating for the students, then there's no reason for them to turn to AI. The reason why they turn to AI or ChatGPT is because they want to get it done quickly, right? But if your lessons are interesting, there's a storyline, their motivations change. Their motivation now is to, how do I escape from this room? Their motivation now is, what are the clues I can get to solve the murder? And they want to do it on their own because this is how they function, right? They play games, Xbox, PS5, whatever is it now. The objective is to beat the game. And you get more satisfaction by, not beating the game through cheating, but through your own efforts. Yeah. So, and of course, what motivates me is because I see the effect in the classroom. So from students who are disengaged, distracted, introverted, they suddenly become different kinds of students. Yeah. I wish I could show you a video clip of my class, but I can't.
Thank you, Ghazali. I have another important question, but we go back to our participants. Susanna, she actually has some questions and comments. May I invite you to quickly speak up? Is it okay, Susanna?
Yes, that's fine. I'll just put my camera on as well.
Yes, I love to see my audience.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been really engaging. I'm really excited to try some of the tools that you shared with us.
And you're from New Zealand. I've been wanting to visit New Zealand, the land of the hobbits.
Yes, it's 9 p.m. here, so that's why it's a little bit dark. Yes, it's it's a lovely country. I do promote that you do come and visit.
I will one day.
Yeah, I don't have a New Zealand accent because I'm actually from Portugal. But I guess my question was around you've used the AI tool at the beginning, and I was curious about which one there is when you with Aisha when you introduced the talk, and also I really like your idea of the escape room, and it's something that I always wanted to try. And I was going to ask if you could put some resources into the platform with regards to how you would set it up. I do use Google Sites, so I'm really excited about that part as well. Thank you.
Awesome question. I actually forgot. Oh man, one of the most important key things of what I wanted to share with all of you today. I'm so glad that Susanna brought it up. Okay, how I design my lessons or AI tools. If you notice how I use my AI tools, I don't use one. I use a combination to make it better, right? Same goes for the escape room. I don't use one. I use the Google site as the platform where you put it onto the website, into the cloud or onto the internet, sorry. And then if you saw the map that I created at the beginning of every adventure, that is created using Google Slide. So I integrated two things. Okay, so this is what we do, right? Because of the pandemic, we need to learn things fast, but we don't learn things fast by learning new things. We use the old things in new ways. We've always had Google Site, we've always had Google Slide. So put them together and you have something new. I have an escape room that doesn't look like a website and it's on the internet. So I don't have to use the platforms that are provided, because when everybody uses it, it suddenly, it crashes or it slows down, right? So I create my own platform, my own internet website, special place just for me and my students. And I integrate using those two tools, the Google Slide and the Google Site. And you see, I use hyperlinks on the map. The Google Slide has the hyperlinks, and these hyperlinks will then go to the Google Sites. So if I'm sure you understand what I'm saying, because you use Google Site, right? Yeah. So that's how I designed the escape room. And Flipperty, the one with the locks, that's an external embed of external website, of games website that you can put it in. Yeah. What was your second question?
Yeah, I think those were my questions.
Oh,
thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Susanna and Ghazali.
Yeah, that's my strategy. I talk until the questions get answered. Yeah.
Thanks. So I just actually posted something on the chat box. Back in 2019, we had our first event and first project on AI and education, where we actually have Vivian here, who was a participant as well from ClassNet16. Hi, Vivian. She wrote a fantastic article. Let me just quickly, so I just posted this series where you'll see all the articles written by our participants from ClassNet15. And I'm just sharing Vivian's one because I think together with one of our participants from Bangladesh, she and Tushar, they wrote a very nice article, whether will AI replace teachers or not. As you can see from Ghazali's presentation, he's self-taught AI in use of AI in classroom expert, and he's not.
Yeah, and I'm not a very savvy person. So if I can do it self-taught, all of you can do it as well.
Yeah, and actually what I really liked, what you said during the beginning of your presentation is that the AI is generating content that you are giving. So you as an educator taking the lead in terms of what you want to deliver to your students. So would you like to say a few words, Vivian, regarding the article you wrote and also the perception about whether AI will replace teachers or not, depending on what Ghazali also showed us today?
Yes,
Okay,
hello, and
that's
thank you
good.
for mentioning this. Thank you for your great talk. To be honest, I would have to look at it again because it was a long time ago, but perhaps if I share my thoughts now, it's something similar. So back then and also now, I'm very interested in the concept of human consciousness. So what really makes us special and what's something completely different from just processing data. But I'm not sure if this was what I mentioned mostly in the article. I mean, it was a completely different world where we are now with the tools we couldn't imagine back then. And also in the conference, I remember that the presentations we saw and the chats we had, that everything was just beginning, and it was not really aiding us, but making things more complicated at that point. And did you share the article already? Should I look at it again?
Yes, it's in the chat box. No, but it's okay. Actually, you summarized it quite well in terms of the key perception. I think it will be an interesting read for you as well, for all the participants, because it's coming from educators' perspective, who is still new in terms of using AI. It's as an educator, they are reflecting whether, and some of them believe actually AI will replace teachers. So that was interesting to read as well. I think it was written by one of our participants from Pakistan. So please, if you have time, browse through all this article series. I think there are some, if any of you have questions, please feel free to raise your hand. I saw that Tito Livio Felipe from Portugal had a lot of comments and interacting quite actively. Would you like to share your comments, or if you have any questions for Ghazali, Tito, please.
Yes, Tito,
Okay.
please. I love to see your face.
But I have a problem with my camera and the internet.
No.
It's not stable. Yes,
Maybe
a
next
big
time.
problem I have. But I can hear you, and I have like very much what the kind of things you have said. I agree with everything. I use in my classes some of the samples you have put here, and my questions is about, I think this type of environments we can use. I think we must control, because we must criticize always what we get about the outputs. And if we don't inform the students about the problem we have when we use this kind of materials, they think everything it's real, and we must increase that type of indications to the students to help them to make some creative things, but thinking always about the critics they have need to make of everything we can have about the outputs of that kind of technology. Do you agree with that?
Okay, awesome. Those are very good points. I've added into my list of questions that I want to answer as well. I hope you all are still receiving me. Suddenly, everybody disappeared. Oh, GOT is sharing screen. Okay, never mind. So one of the many questions I saw in the chat is that what is Aisha made from? The AI tool that I use for Aisha is called DID. As of 3 months before, and I was still very, keeping track with all the IT tools, the AI tools. This is the very best one. It's called D/ID. And this is the best for creating avatars or pictures of real life people, not real life people, but of pictures that look like real life people. Okay. Second question is, will AI replace teachers? Okay, they said that AI won't replace teachers, and they also say like AI won't replace workers. Workers using AI will replace workers. So maybe if we put the two together, maybe it could be teachers using AI. And I wouldn't say replace teachers. I would just say that teachers need to be retrained and learn to use AI effectively. And that is the new generation of teachers. Maybe some of you may disagree. Yeah, so it's okay. Now, back to Tito's question about the AI itself. Yes, I totally agree. Remember, the previous speaker spoke about using AI and teaching students to use AI. So those are two different things. And I think that there is still problems with AI in terms of like hallucinations, right? They give you wrong answers sometimes. And I know when it happens. You know when it happens? Look, where does the data come from? The data come from the entirety of the internet, right? Okay, so I teach drama. So I teach local drama, which is very obscure. So when I ask questions about the local drama, which is obscure, they start coming up with their own storyline, which has nothing to do with the book that I'm doing. So then I scold it. I say, can you please stop hallucinating and give me the information? And then I have to give it specific information about what the drama is about. And then it starts giving me correct information. So what it tells me is that the AI tends to do a search algorithm, and then it picks out the information that is relevant. Unfortunately, in picking out the information that is relevant, if what you're asking for is obscure, it will make up things. So that is why I do not use AI for the time being as content material. And I repeat, the content is your curriculum, is what you teach in the classroom every day. So it is not diluted, or it is not enhanced by AI. How AI should enhance your lesson is by providing the overarching engagement for your lessons to bring it to the next level. That is the safest way of doing it, okay, at the current moment in time, until AI fixes its hallucination problem. Okay, but now we have another problem. How do we stop students from cheating? You know that I had lots of sleepless nights, Tito, to think about how am I going to change my homework. I teach English. I can't just tell my students now, okay, your homework is to write an essay about this topic or write a story about this incident. I will be marking AI, not marking my students' work, right? Because they can just generate that story in like 30 seconds. Then they submit it the next day as homework. So the way we teach must change, using engagement by design, for example. The way that we give homework must change. We cannot give those kinds of homework anymore. So my solution is, if I want the students to use AI, this is how I would do it. I have actually come up with a template, and I'm using my hands to illustrate because it is so new, it's not even on paper. So imagine I've come up with a template. Think of a piece of paper. The top portion of the paper, I will label as your prompt, the prompt that the students use to generate the essay. I give a question, right? So the students must generate an essay using a particular prompt. So they write the prompt at the top. On the right-hand side, they have to analyze the essay and tell me what content they can change or add to make it better. Okay, what content they can add, that means content generation. So what will we need to teach our students? We need to teach our students higher level skills. This is the good part about AI. Not just write an essay anymore. We have to teach them how to do referencing. We need to teach them how to do research at secondary school level, and maybe even at primary school level in a more simplified version. And we can do it because of AI. So they create that text on the right-hand side, content, where they give referencing, right? On the left-hand side, they criticize the syntax, the stylistics. Is it too boring? Are the paragraphs too short? Which they tend to do if you don't prompt properly, all right? And at the bottom, they take a paragraph and they improve it using the referencing that they have found on the right-hand side, using what they have discovered on the left-hand side for improving in terms of stylistics. And this then will become their homework. And that becomes how you use ChatGPT, right? Something that's produced by ChatGPT. It doesn't matter if it's hallucinating, because the referencing will take care of that, right? And I can tell you definitely it will not produce a top-notch A-level kind of essay. So that's what the left-hand portion is supposed to do. How can you improve on it? And then they produce the final product below. Then I will mark that paragraph below. So my work gets easier. I don't mark an entire essay. Students do more work. That's the way it should be. Teachers should be working less than our students. Our students should be working harder than us, not the other way around. Yeah, so that's my solution for homework for my subject. So for math, science, you may have to find something similar, right? Yeah. Okay, Tito, I hope I answered your question.
Yes, many thanks for the answer.
Awesome.
Thank you, Tito and Ghazali. We can take only one or two more questions. So I saw that Nahid Guya from Bangladesh,
Really?
who's a teacher trainer.
I haven't finished my coffee.
Hand.
I can stay for another half an hour, no problem.
Yeah, so those of you who needs to leave, that's why I put up the checking out slide, what to expect for the next session. So please, we'll have the webinar on more use of practical examples of effective and practical AI ed tools by 2 representatives coming from the education technology and AI ed research sector. So please make note about that, and the information about this session will be also available for those of you who are our full program participants on the learning platform. So Nahid, maybe you can just unmute yourself and then ask your question.
Thank you, Jyoti, and thank you, Abdul Wahab, for your wonderful presentation. I thoroughly enjoyed your presentation.
Thank you, Nahid.
But I have a query. Nowadays, educators are very often using the 2 terms synonymously. The terms are online tools or digital tools and AI tools. But it seems to me there are difference between these 2 types of tools. For example, if I ask my student to post something on the blog, this could be certainly considered as online tools, not AI tools. So what's your opinion? I think we need to make a distinction between these 2 terms to avoid any further confusion and understand the difference, and thus help our students to solve problems using AI tools.
Excellent.
How do you
Yes.
like to define or define these 2 terms?
Okay, so how I would define, yes.
Sorry for interrupting. Thank you, Nahid. There is another relevant question so that you can answer it together. It's actually a beautiful question from Rocio Viega from Spain. Apologies if I mispronounced your name. She asked about, I wonder if these tools contribute to distorting the ability of students to distinguish the real from imaginary. How do we give them the capacity to be critical of the information that comes to them? What is your opinion? So maybe you can combine that with Nahid as well.
All right, so for Mr. Nahid, how do we differentiate the 2? The one where the student takes the writing that he or she has done and put it onto a blog. Okay, so we look at who produces that piece of content. So if the content is produced by the student, hence it is something that is student generated. But if the content is produced by artificially, artificial means not our human brain, artificial means through generative AI, where they scour through the internet and then find the different information, put it together, right? So these are generated information. So the generated information requires algorithms. So anything that requires algorithms or programming to produce the final product, that will be under AI. And the tools that they use to apply the algorithms to produce that product will be the AI tools. So the students' own product, when they are writing, and then they use an online blog to put it up onto internet, that will be student-generated product. That's what actually we, as teachers, we want to see. And we want to see the students improving in their writing skills and all that, provided that they do it using their own cognition, higher order thinking. So when the students are using computers and not their own brains to come up with the final product, then that will be using the AI tools, right? And the second question is about tools, real versus imaginary. Are you talking about the setting, the storylines that we create? Or are you talking about the hallucinations that the ChatGPT produces?
So in terms of using ChatGPT to create something imaginary, so so when you use it a lot, how do students distinguish between the real and the imaginary when they
okay, interesting. Right. So for our students, most of the time they spend their world, their mind is in the imaginary. So they are thinking about how to be creative. Their mind wander. They think, what if I did this? What if that happened? This is in a very imagination mode of thinking. Those are kids. That's what they do. Yeah. So what we are doing then is we are trying to put in a lot of the real world knowledge into the minds, which are programmed to be creative and exploratory, children's as they develop. So what we do then is to use the imagination part, the creativity part, and then we use the real world content knowledge, we fuse it together, right? And then we use it to transmit the knowledge of what we want to teach, the content, the curriculum. All right. So now the danger, as you call it, is that when we use the imaginary too much, when the students are always in the imaginary world, which is already happening right now. Those students who are hooked on gaming, right? So if they're hooked on gaming, they are hooked on the imaginary world, okay? And there are dangers like, SimCity, SimWorld, where the world of the AI metaverse becomes reality. Why? Because they can just put on a piece of goggle and then they can look around and then they are immersed in that world, in that environment. Too much of that can be damaging, right? But what I showed you today is a bit different because it is creating an imaginary world through text, right? Through text and through visuals. So what we're doing is the students' own imagination creates that world. We don't show them an artificial world, then through a piece of goggle, they are forced to follow this artificial world. We let their imaginations run and their creativity flows. This is where I really, really love the work of Sir Ken Robinson, where he basically states that schools, the problem with schools is that we are too much, we have hold on too much to the Industrial Revolution, the days of the Industrial Revolution, where, everybody has to be this particular shape, size when they leave school, to prepare for factory work and all this. But then we lose the things like the arts, music, physical education, creativity, where does this come in the current curriculum? And how does this help the students in the future world of the AI? If you ask me, in the future world of the AI, creativity is going to be a central, a key aspect, because only those who are creative will create the innovations of the future. Okay, and just to put it in perspective, AI will not cure cancer, right? AI will not cure cancer. It only knows what it is currently in the internet right now, right? The person who cures cancer is the one who will be using the creativity to think out of the box and maybe use AI to help him or her get there, to think out of the box and then find solutions which are not yet available. Yeah, that will be my answer.
Thank you. Very well said, Ghazali. Unfortunately, we are already over time, so we cannot, we cannot we cannot address any more questions. Really sorry for that, but we will try to gather some of the similar questions and send it to Ghazali so that he can respond in writing. I'm not sure if Ruth is still here. She had a question. For some reason, I lost my earlier chat.
Yes,
so if you were
go
still
ahead.
here, Ruth, please feel free to ask, and you will be the last participant to ask the last question, final question today. So if not, are you here? Can I quickly check, Ruth?
Yes, I'm here, but you could
Okay.
just give my chance to another person. I will have to find my way around my question. Thank you.
I think there were some questions regarding whether you have any suggestions regarding using AI tools to evaluate students. So evaluation of learning outcome in a way.
Okay, so that's okay, now this is the part where I have to be very careful. Yeah, because then we are passing over a big responsibility, a big part of our work to AI. I think a big portion of what teachers do actually is in grading the students, finding the mistakes and helping them improve. That has always been our role. The danger of imparting this to AI then is that's when you start to realize, okay, so can AI replace teachers? Same question, actually. Yeah. And if you ask me, okay, I've tried. For example, I've taken my students' essay and I put it into ChatGPT and I asked it, so what do you think of this? And from what I can see, most of the time I don't agree with the grades that ChatGPT gives. That's the first one. Second, I do see that it looks at the students' work in a different way. For us, for example, as teachers, we are looking at how the students' work can convince other humans. You need to write something that's convincing, persuasive, right? But the AI can't really evaluate that because it's not human. It tries to be, right? But when you want to see how persuasive a piece of writing is, in your mind, when you're grading the piece of work, you're thinking, okay, is this persuasive to me? And I'm a real human. Is this persuasive to me? Would I agree with what the students have written, right? But the AI doesn't grade that. The AI is probably grading spelling, grammar, punctuation, right? Those kind of things. But I think the communicative aspects of the piece of work, is just as important, if not more so, because as human beings, we are communicative animals, right? We want creatures, yeah. So we want to communicate well, right? So it cannot evaluate every single thing that is in our rubrics that we look at the current moment in time, lah. Yeah. So I wouldn't transfer this over to the AI. And anyway, where's the fun in that? I want to see how my students are doing, how much they have improved, and how much they have learned from what I've taught them in the classroom. So I would love to see that the students have picked up all the things that I've brought into the classroom. And to do that, I need to assess them myself. Yeah, not use the AI tools. Although I do hear that the AI tools are becoming more advanced, and there are certain applications right now which can actually, or they're trying to help us with marking. Yes, because we always complain as English teachers, the marking load is too much. So they are coming up with AI tools that can supposedly help with the marking, and I would love to try it out and see just how good it is.
Thank you. Wow, a lot of thoughts to process, and really happy that all of you asked such relevant and important questions to raise our critical
very good
awareness.
questions. Make me think about.
Yeah, and a special thanks to our speaker, Ghazali today, I think, who really showed you some practical examples from an educator's perspective. So I think from today's session, what I can say from the chat as well, you can relate to him more because he's an educator like you as well. So thank you so much, Ghazali. And with that, I just want to make a quick note about, we have a very special holiday tomorrow in Singapore, and Ghazali, I think you were celebrating as well. So a very happy Eid Mubarak to those of you, our Muslim friends who were celebrating it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so with that, thank you so much. We actually went over 21 minutes. So thank you so much, Ghazali, for your patience, and to those of you who stayed back, thank you. And we will see you. Yes.
Sorry, Jyoti. I do see some comments in the chat for my contact. If they want to contact me, can I share screen? I think I left out the last slide.
Of course. Of course. Yeah, let me stop sharing first. Yeah.
All right. I would love to meet all of you. Why not? It's not always that I can speak to an international audience. Okay. This slide that I forgot to show you. Can you see
We'll
it?
be also sharing the slide with them later, so they will have the slide.
Awesome. I think this is the slide is very important because it also has the AI tools used today. So if you want to know these are the AI tools, I'm very active on LinkedIn. That's my private email. Yeah, so you can send me information. I do that from that website. Yeah. And those of you who can guess my age when you reply to my email, I'll probably give you a free gift. It's like escape room, right?
So thank you so much, Ghazali. Thank you again. With that, see you next week, 6th of July, for a session with Terence and Ida on practical use of EdTech tools.